There are a lot of light cones in the game, 104 light cones specifically, and they all range from utter garbage to barely usable to so good that it prolapsed my anus. But of these, only a few are free to play, and of them, only a few are really viable. So what light cones can free to play players use? And what should they invest in? That's what I'll be going over in this video, telling you the best free-to-play light cones to invest in for every path. So let's get started! Firstly, what are our free-to-play light cones? Well, there's surprisingly a lot. There are the 5-star light cones from Herta's shop. There are also the 4-star light cones that you can get from the Light Cone Manifest shop, available at the Forgotten Hall, Pure Fiction, and Apocalypse Shadows locations. There are also the 4-star light cones that you can get from events like Tutorial, and finally the 3-star light cones that you can get from the Warp. They can all be quite good, that's right, even the 3-star ones, and we will go over at least a lot of them, ending the video with my free-to-play recommendations for specific paths. But before that, please leave a like and subscribe, and let's get started. When we look at the Herta shop light cones, there's 5 light cones there. Are they any good? I will start off with the newest one, Eternal Calculus. The name initially scared me as I never did math in senior high school, however, thankfully the math is minimal. It has the following stats. These aren't too bad, but the passive is more important. At Superimposition 5, it increases the wearer's attack by 12%. Then after using an attack, for every enemy it hits, it increases by 8%. Since you can hit 5 enemies, you can get 40% attack bonus. Of course, the devs would know that this is going to be super strong, so they actually make it stack a maximum of 5 times. Fair enough. Similarly, if you hit 3 enemies, your speed increases by 16% for 1 turn. That is quite strong. It must be understood though that the passive of increasing your attack by 8% up to 40% only begins after you attack an enemy, not before, meaning your first attack will only have the passive 12% attack bonus. This is a strong light cone for Pure Fiction for your erudition characters, and will always be your best in slot for a free-to-play account. That is unless you have S5 Genius's Repose, however, that's from the gacha system and isn't necessarily what you would consider free-to-play. Solitary Healing, the free-to-play 5-star Nihility light cone from Herta's store. It was quite bad when it was released, but now it's not that bad. It's not the greatest, as its S5 version has the following passives. Increases break effect by 40%, and when wearer uses their ultimate, increases DOT dealt by the wearer by 48% for 2 turns. It also regenerates 6 energy for the wearer when the targeted enemy suffers from inflicted DOTs dies. This is also quite good in Pure Fiction, as you can possibly ult spam with Kafka and then detonate DOTs with her skill. However, it has no other place really in the meta. Similarly, it doesn't seem particularly the greatest on anyone. The free-to-play 4-star light cone options are much better on Nihility characters, but we'll discuss them later. The next Herta shop light cone is the Preservation one, Texture of Memories. I'll just say it's not particularly good on any Preservation character besides Fu Xuan. It has a massive HP base stat, and its passive increases effect res, which is quite nice. And its other passives are also alright, like gaining a shield equal to 32% of the wearer's HP for 2 turns, and receiving less damage when they have a shield up. Fu Xuan, who scales off HP, uses this as a 3rd best in slot after both her signature light cone and Gepard's Moment of Victory. It can also work on Fire Trailblazer, but it works on no other Preservation character. The next ones up on our list are the best light cones in Herta's shop, the Hunt light cone Cruising in the Stellar Sea and the Destruction on the Fall of an Aeon. These are often better than every other 4-star option that aren't from the gacha, and sometimes even better than the light cones from the gacha. S5 Cruising in the Stellar Sea is the free-to-play best in slot for every Hunt character besides Boothill. This light cone increases your crit rate by 16%, meaning that's 32 crit value that you can convert into crit damage in your relic substats. Similarly, when you attack an enemy with less than 50% HP, crit rate increases by another 16%, and when you defeat an enemy, attack increases by 40% for 2 turns. And Hunt characters should be eliminating enemies every 2 turns anyways, otherwise they are going to perform badly in every game mode available right now. This is insanely strong, being much better than the 4-star free-to-play options, and was the first light cone I got from the shop. However, I believe the next light cone is much better for free-to-play players. That is the Destruction Light Cone, S5 on the Fall of an Aeon. This light cone is the free-to-play best in slot for every destruction unit except Blade, who's dead in a ditch right now. The light cone provides a 16% attack increase, which stacks up to 4 times, meaning a 64% attack bonus, as destruction units should be crushing enemies anyways. Similarly, after inflicting weakness break, the damage increases by 24% for 2 turns. This is super strong and basically trumps every single other free-to-play option. It's even better than most gacha light cones besides the best in slot light cones for specific hyper carries like Jingliu, Cooler Dan Hang, Blade, and Firefly's light cones, although Firefly isn't a hyper carry. But also, we're discussing free-to-play light cones, so obviously those don't really matter. Hence, for Herta's light cones, if you are to get any light cones, always get the destruction one first and S5 it, then the hunt one. After that, pick light cones based on your character roster, but I'd go for the erudition one so that your Herta can slay. The Herta store light cone section was honestly quite easy. That's because all I had to do was regurgitate what every other person says. The next section is much harder, the best 4-star light cones from the light cone manifest shop. I might miss out on a couple of good light cones, but hopefully I didn't. If I did, mention them in the comment section. Hence, I will be discussing specific light cones that I think are worth for free-to-play players. For Nihility, its showtime is okay, but the other option for Mada is far better. Now for Nihility, most of their free-to-play options kinda suck, with the best light cones being gacha light cones like Good Night Sleep Well and Resolution. However, if you have not gotten any of these due to bad luck, use Fermata on your DPS Nihilities like Kafka, Blackstone, and Acheron. Do not use this on any other Nihilities like Pela though. This is because Fermata increases break effect dealt by 32%, yes, which isn't that good for these characters, but more importantly, increases damage to enemies afflicted with shock or wind shear by 32%, applying also to TOT damage. Hence, on Black Swan, Sampo, Kafka, and Acheron, this is the best free-to-play option available right now. However, your DPS will be very low, particularly for Acheron. On supports, you'd be using gacha light cones or the event light cones, which we will get to later. Otherwise, you can use its showtime on Welt, Gwynaifen, Pela, and Luca, but this is basically going through hell. For Abundance characters, there aren't really any good free-to-play 4-star options from this shop, so we're not going to discuss them here. Quid Pro Quo is okay, but not really. For Hunt characters, the free 4-star alternatives are mid. The River Flows in Spring and the Final Victor will suffice, yes, but the Herta shop light cone is much better to use. Use these 4-star alternatives if you play multiple Hunt characters like the follow-up attack team, but you should always try to use the Herta shop light cone on your main Hunt DPS. In the scenario of the follow-up attack team, use it on Dr. Ratio. However, in that case, you should also have gacha Hunt light cones like Swordplay and Only Silence Remains, even if not at max superimposition. That is because you're pulling for multiple Hunt-based characters. Those are going to be better alternatives. However, you can get unlucky, so use these 4-star alternatives if you must. The 4-star light cones become much better with the Preservation Path, although only for Aventurine. The 4-star light cone Destiny's Threads for Woven S5 increases effect res by 20% and increases the wearer's damage by 1.2% for every 100 defense they have up to a maximum of 48%. As a result, for Aventurine, it's really strong. However, for other preservation characters, the free-to-play options aren't that great. Use the Herta light cone on Fushuan and this light cone on Aventurine. For Destruction, there is not a single good alternative. The Herta light cone is always going to be way better, and you cannot optimally use any of the 4-star free-to-play options, so we're just gonna quickly ignore this section. For Harmony, the best light cone is Past and Future. At S5, when the wearer uses their skill, the next ally taking action, except the wearer, deals 32% increased damage for 1 turn. We already know which characters will use this, Sparkle and Bronia, who action forward the main DPS in hyper carry teams with their skill. However, for other Harmony characters, a certain 3-star light cone is far better than the shop's 4-star alternatives. The free-to-play options for erudition are far better, like it may not be better than the Herta light cone, but they are often very good alternatives. The Day the Cosmos Fell is the second best 4-star free-to-play option on every erudition character, like literally every one. This is because S5 The Day the Cosmos Fell increases attack by 24%, and when the wearer attacks at least 2 enemies with the same weakness, crit damage increases by 40% for 2 turns. This is really good, and so you should totally invest in this light cone if you are free to play. The other 4-star option, the Seriousness of Breakfast, is also really good, but not as optimal. It increases damage by 24%, and for every enemy defeated, the wearer's attack increases by 8% up to 3 times. I recommend The Day the Cosmos Fell, but of course, you should use both in my opinion. Ultimately, we can conclude that for the free 4-star light cones from Light Cone Manifest Shop, they are mostly okay, or just bad, other than for Erudition, Nihility, and Harmony. Thus, the light cones you should get are mostly just the Erudition light cones, but if you have Nihility DPSs, get Fermata, and if you have Bronia and or Sparkle, get Past and Future. Now we move on to the event limited light cones. Currently we only have 3. The very first one out was before the tutorial mission starts, the second one was Hey Over Here, and the most recent one is For Tomorrow's Journey. These are quite good light cones, particularly tutorial and journey. The Abundance Hey Over Here are a decent light cone to use on Huohuo, Bailu, Lynx, and Natasha. The light cone at S5 increases max HP by 12% and increases outgoing healing by 28% for 2 turns when you use their skill. It's okay and is fine to use, however, since your Abundance character should generally generate SP, a certain 3-star light cone can oftentimes be better. The Harmony light cone For Tomorrow's Journey is really only good on Robin, for whom it is the second best in slot after her 5-star limited banner light cone. Personally, I think that you can also use this light cone on Tingyun due to the attack percentage buff, but a later 3-star light cone that I'll be discussing is, I think, far better. Tutorial, the 4-star event light cone for Nihility is the best event light cone. It provides a 40% effect hit rate bonus with its passive and regenerates 8 energy when the wearer attacks def reduced enemies. You can use this light cone on Pela and Silverwolf and is quite good on them since they reduce defense. So now the final section. The video is getting quite long, but let's discuss the best 3-star light cones available. For Hunt, you can use Adversarial on Boothill, who doesn't have any specific light cones just yet besides his limited banner light cone. This is because Adversarial increases his speed by 18% after he defeats an enemy for 2 turns. For Abundance characters, I would much rather use Multiplication over the free-to-play 4-star options. This is because its passive advances the wearer's action forward by 20% at S5, meaning you can generate SP more quickly. And for Harmony, you use Meshing Cogs. This 3-star alternative regenerates 8 additional energy if they attack or they get attacked, although it can only be triggered once per turn. This is oftentimes better than 4-star light cones, letting you do some zero-cycle shenanigans alongside with the light cone Dance Dance Dance. So those are all the free-to-play light cones available. Which light cones do I recommend that you get? Firstly, get Aeon from the Herta shop. There's no other 4-star alternatives to it for destruction. Besides that, get the Stellar as well, as it's a really good Hunt light cone. All the other ones can wait, but get the Erudition light cone if you like Erudition characters. From the 4-star shop, get the Erudition light cones, and for Harmony, get Past and Future if you have Bronia or Sparkle. Otherwise, for Nihility, get Fermata for your DPS Nihilities, and it's showtime for Guinaifen, Luca, and Welt, but know that these are not even that good, but it is free to play. However, most other options kinda suck in this shop. For event light cones, if you have Robin, use the Harmony one since that's good. Use the Abundance one on any Abundance character if you don't have enough multiplications. Use Tutorial on either Pela or Silverwolf since it's quite good if you have those characters. For 3 stars, stock up on Multiplication and Coggers and use them on your Abundance and Harmony characters if you don't have better 4-star gacha alternatives. Okay, so that's been my video. This is quite a long one and was incredibly hard to edit. However, I hope you found it useful and hopefully your time in the game has become a bit more enjoyable now. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and comment on whether this was a massive L video or not, whether I wasted your time or not. And also, bye!